Jesus, I'm a daddy this morning, yesterday, the day before, and of course, you know what? If I get up tomorrow morning, guess what? Of course, it is Wellness Wednesday right here in the studios at Flash, but of course, in the Grand Cayman and the rest of the world. I want to say good morning to Lady Elise. Good morning, Lady Elise. How are you doing this morning?
I am blessed and highly favored. Um,
Fever.
yes, highly favored, and I'm thankful God has been an amazing God. And of course, I am giving him all the thanks and all the praise because guess what? It is Wellness Wednesday. Wellness. How do you feel, Mikey G? Do you
Well, I feel
feel
well
well?
today, you know. I feel totally well this morning. Completely well.
Right
Of
now,
course, we are,
right,
I feel well.
I think you're feeling too well this morning. Can I say?
Well, I don't know about anybody else, you know. You know what I tell myself is this, and I know this for a fact. Whatever you tell yourself, that's exactly what's going to be happening. Let me put that on the line for somebody. It's like I say to myself, you know, I tell somebody, you know, I'm going home. I
Yes.
don't know. I have no idea. I don't have no idea I'm going home this morning. I don't know if I'm going home from work or I don't know. But I say I'm going home.
You say you're going home.
Yeah. And then I arrive at home.
And then what happened?
I lied to everybody telling that I'm coming home. That's what I did. I lied to them that I'm coming home because I did not know if I would reach.
You didn't know if you'd reach, right?
No. And so everything you do, if you follow the same principle, same application will work. If
Yes.
you say today is a great day, I guess today is going to be a great day. Must be because it's what you say it is.
Yeah.
Wellness Wednesdays this morning, and of course, we are here locked in the studios of Flashpoint this morning. Of course, it is another beautiful Wednesday morning, and you know, we're talking about the apostolic apostolic church that is having its what you call the turning point. Turning point for us this morning is that we are having a different experience each day, and what we do with that is simply ensuring that we never cause ourselves harm in the middle of the day to cause a situation. I listened to the payroll thing that happened, and I think it was Monday or was it Friday? Monday? Monday? Yeah, where the guys hold up the payroll and take away the money or something. I'm not sure. Alleged. They say it's alleged heist.
Alleged, alleged heist. You know,
Well,
but you
I don't know.
know, Mikey G, we're gonna talk about that after the news. So perhaps we should
Ah,
just
I talked about it this morning. I am not talking about it now, but I'm just saying, you know,
yes,
when you think about these things, you are saying to yourself, wow,
yes.
somebody has pre-planned their day long before it started because they know what they're going to do today. That on Monday, they knew exactly what they were going to do.
Do you
Alleged.
do
They
you
allegedly do.
do you know? Let me say this to you. Do you know that evil criminals have a plans? They know what they're going to be doing ahead of time.
Well, for what I'm telling you is that if you don't plan, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And so everything that you see happening around you, sometimes it is interestingly, very interestingly, persons have planned their lives all the time. Even if it seems as if it's a little bit haphazard, people are putting plans in place for their lives to go on and work the way they think it should. So
Of
this
course.
morning, we are no different. We are
Yes.
making sure we plan the morning and plan the day. And of course, we want today to be the one that we choose to have, not somebody else's plan for us to have.
Well, you
You know,
know, I know, but as we are having the conversation, I must share with the listeners that this morning we are joined by a very special guest on the breakfast hour, and I know you want to hear more about our guest that's joining us. But before he comes, I just want to share with the listeners this, of course, a very, very important information that's, just to get us all in the frame and ready to hear what we need to hear, right, Mikey G?
That's definitely what it is, Elise. And of course, this morning it is Wellness Wednesday. As we said before, of course, Dr. K will be coming up shortly. All right? So, after these messages.
After these messages, you will hear much more.
ASI Weekend, November 22 to 24, under the theme Reset, Revive, Renew. ASI, a community of Seventh day Adventist laymen and professionals, is committed to sharing Christ in the marketplace. On Friday, connect on Zoom with Pastor Baptiste. Sabbath morning, explore marketplace ministry. Then celebrate the divine service with Pastor Baptiste and witness the installation of our new ASI board members, followed by Sabbath lunch. In the afternoon, don't miss the major project launch and heart resuscitation training. On Sunday, rise early for the SDA 10K run walk at 6 a.m. Wrap up the weekend at 6 p.m. with a grand gospel concert, closing with an inspiring charge by Phillip Baptiste. Come, reset, revive, and renew with us.
Reset, revive, and renew with us. I want to say pleasant good morning to the man himself, Elder Rohan Riley, this morning. Good morning, Elder Riley. How are you doing this morning?
Yes, Mikey. Good morning. Good morning. Good to be with you.
All right. Of course, we are talking about reset and revive, and of course, a total weekend planned for the ASI chapter of the Grand Cayman Island. Some very important stuff coming up on this week, on that weekend. And of course, we're here to talk about it a little bit and to encourage some of our listeners and our viewers to actually be attending these this very important meetings or events.
Right. So this weekend is going to be a big weekend for ASI Cayman as we have our weekend of celebrations, which will be highlighted by the installation of the new ASI board of directors. And it's just going to be a fantastic event. A special guest coming in from North America, Pastor Phillip Baptiste. And he'll be coming in tomorrow, so he'll be here with us for the entire weekend. He'll be speaking at the service on Sabbath at Georgetown. He'll be speaking on Zoom on Friday night with us, and he'll be with us for the concert also. So he's going to be with us for the weekend, and we can talk a little bit about who he is as we go.
Well, of course, I was just listening to I was, of course, doing some announcement on the weekend, especially on the Sabbath experience that will be happening. And of course, we'll be talking a little bit more on the health care of the human. Of course, and then of course, we'll be transitioning in some walks and stuff like that, right? So on the Sabbath afternoon of this Sabbath afternoon, we'll be having the training going on. Is it the 23rd?
Yeah, so the weekend of activities, it commences, as I said, on Friday night, and we're going to be having a Zoom meeting when all of us are going to be involved, and this is where we want everyone to log on to the meeting.
Right.
We're having it starting that way, where everybody, those of us in Cayman and those of us who are in the nearby islands, can log in and can share in the beginning of this weekend of celebrations. And so you can go on to the ASI Cayman Facebook page. I think it's ASI Cayman.
ASI Cayman.
You will see the link that takes you into that meeting on Friday evening at 7 p.m. And that meeting is being coordinated by Pastor Andrew Campbell, who is the executive secretary of ASI. Pastor Carr will be there. All our conference executives will be there. And it promises to be just a wonderful way to start off the program. And then on Sabbath morning, at Georgetown Church, it's going to be face-to-face. We invite everyone to come down for the Sabbath morning. And in the morning, we call Marketplace Ministry.
Right.
marketplace ministries, where we're going to be highlighting some of our local Adventist businesses, and we're going to highlight their missionary activities, how they use their businesses to witness, how they incorporate sharing the gospel in their daily activities as they go about their business with their clients. And as you know, ASI, the motto of ASI is sharing Christ in the marketplace, and that means that wherever you are, you know, Mikey, a lot of people think that to be effective in the gospel ministry, you have to be a good public speaker, or you have to be able to preach, or you have to be someone who loves this platform and the stage and so on. But that is
That
exactly
is
that's what we are not.
that's a mythical conversation that many people want to have, and of course has been troubles a lot of persons who are not very public speaking qualified in terms of themselves. A little shy on the shy, like myself, you know, on the shy side. Sometimes I don't want to talk.
No.
uh,
Elise, you'll laugh, but I tell you what. Do you know that a lot of people actually are presenters? For example, do you know that Michael Jackson, being a great entertainer, was very, very shy. He never to make a public speech. He was very shy. A lot of people who go on stage and sing and they entertain. If you should tell them to go up there and preach a sermon, pass out. That is, some people are just different. Some people have different skills, and I think one of the problems we have in the Adventist church is that we believe that if somebody doesn't get up and talk, and you see the Adventist church is centered around talking, and the people who talk are the people who get all the applause. People who sit there and do the work, nobody notices them.
Nobody noticed the ones that does the work
If,
without
if,
talking.
if you walk into a church, right, and you have Sabbath school lesson, and they jump up and they talk and give some good points, by they finish, we want to make them the pastor. We don't know anything about them, but they are good speakers. And so we judge people based on their oratorical abilities. And we're
Yes.
saying that that doesn't give you any brownie points with us. What we want you to do is that after you leave church, don't come church and preach to the choir and make good points and be a star. After you leave church and you go out into your business, I'm talking to Brother Nelson. He has a tire shop, right? And I have spoken to people who don't know that I know him. And they say, this man is this tire shop. Whenever I go there, he's trying to give me some track. That is what we encourage.
Oh boy.
We encourage our members. Don't go and try to learn to be an orator. Don't try to study. Just when people come to you, talk to them about Jesus.
I like that conversation, Elder Riley, because it caused me to think about a little aspect that I realize that is missing in the business industry, and that is as it relates to customer service. I have come on this platform and I have said, customer service is absent. What is that? I thought that people were able to interact with individuals when they come into the business. But as Christians, it goes hand in hand. When somebody comes into contact with you, they ought to feel the difference. They ought to know that they have been, and it doesn't matter where you are in the industry, the first point of contact, the last point, the middle, they need to know that Jesus loves them and also see that through how you interact with them as Christians.
Of course. And before I touch on that point, just on the general point of customer service, because a lot of our members are business people.
Yes.
And people don't understand that customer service is a critical part of a business. It's not the capital that you have, it's a critical, it's not the product that you have. A matter of fact, there is only one thing that a business cannot do without. One thing. People think business can do without capital, it can do without place, without production, it can do without anything. It can even do without you, but one thing business cannot do without is customers. Right? All a business need is customers. Because if you have customers and you don't even know if you have people come to you, right, and say, listen, we have this need. You don't have any business, you don't have any business, you don't have any money, you don't have any business, you don't have anything.
Yes.
Some friends come to you and say, listen, man, we want a radio station, man, that really can tap into our needs and can help us to do this and so on. Guess what? You have a business, because you know you're gonna take that idea and you're gonna get somebody. You might even get somebody to lend you their program and, and put a commission on it. So so when you have customers, you have to treasure them and nurture them and make them special. And that is why in our, you know, my wife and I, we have a business, and in our business we have staff that work for us. But there is one thing that I know, and she has kind of semi-retired me now, so I don't do much. But one thing that I hold on to is that I say, when the phone rings in the office, let them route it to me. I'll do that part of it. Let the customers come to me, and you can do everything. So my wife does everything else in the business. She does the buying, the importing, the customs, the staff management, everything, the warehouse, everything. I just get up in the morning and go right beside my kitchen to my office, and I answer the phone, because customer service is what makes a business thrive. And so back to the point about how you incorporate your Christianity into your business. If you have good customer service, your customers are gonna know you. They're gonna trust you. Right? When things go wrong, they're not gonna fly up and say, "Well, I stopped dealing with you." We have been selling. My wife and I have been selling the last brand there in Cayman for like maybe 20 or maybe as old as our daughter is 20 plus, and it's not always been rosy. But the thing about it is that we have had loyal customers. Almost all the customers that we have, we know them personally. We know the children. We visit with them. And if things go wrong, sometimes things, like during COVID, things were short and so on. And we talk to them, they call and they say, "Listen, man, I need this. The customers are asking me for this." And so you build up a relationship. And so that is how we were able to build that brand in Cayman, just by being able to take up the phone and call, being able to take up the phone and call the little shop down the road in Windsor Park. And so customer service is so, and ASI, what ASI does, is that's my experience. We have other people in ASI,
Right.
it's in business, and what we do, we share our experiences, and we share our strategies, and we share our techniques. And so we all get to improve our businesses because many things that people are going through in their businesses, others have gone through it before. You might be going through a bump in the business now that we, Sherry and I, have been through 10 years ago, right? You might have a problem. How do I capitalize my business? How do I deal with grumpy customers? How do I scale up my business? How do I get to manage my work-life balance and so on? And we have been through it, so we can share. And there are other people who have been through it. So that's why the networking component of ASI is critical. That's why we tell people, join ASI. You have a little business and you're an Adventist and you're there doing it on your own. Join ASI. Let us help you. Let us share ideas. Let us support you in your enterprise. But as Elise was alluded to, you have to find a way. You have to be thinking always of opportunities for witnessing. Because if you are an Adventist who love the gospel, okay, you are always looking for an inroad. When people come to buy, baby formula from us, we don't want to say to them, you want baby formula. Before you buy the baby formula, here's a Bible. Buy Jesus and
You want to marry. You remember back in the 70s when you had to buy a sanitary napkin for the female before you can get a loaf of bread. And so when people go to the shop, they used to call it's white bread, right? And so it became that. And I'm thinking what you said a while ago, Ella Riley, is such an important factor. That sometimes we can't be pushing something down somebody's throat, but gently give them the gospel. Of course, have a strategic way of just imparting something naturally to them that they won't even realize that you're telling them about Christ. But sometimes even more so in your actions, it actually speaks so much louder. And then when you start to talk, somehow they even want to listen to you even more.
And what people need to do with the gospel, I think, is the same kind of creativity that you lend to improving your business. You have to be thinking about how can you strategically put it in front of someone in a way that they will find attractive. And so
attractive for them, yes.
Same kind of ingenuity. Use that same type of level of creativity and put the gospel before people and say to them, listen, maybe it's just in having a discussion. Say, our customers, we have a lime every Saturday night and we sit down and we talk about our experiences. Probably I produce a product and I can put a Bible verse on it. Probably I'm going. If we start to think about it, just think about it. If you had to make money off selling the gospel, wouldn't you find ways of doing it? And so we challenge our members to find ways of sharing the gospel. And I think why the gospel is sometimes lagging behind is because everybody's focused on their own personal enterprise. People get up and they think about their dreams and their hopes and ambitions. And the first thing people ask when you ask in the church is that, how am I going to make some money out of it? How am I going to...
Here is the question, is the answer for the question. I talked about this. Every time I get a chance, I tell the story. I like to follow the history, church history. I like to follow where we're coming from. But where we're coming from is that where Adventism begins. I like to follow the history of how the church has gone through different places and different areas of how Christianity has been modified or damaged or tainted or whichever way it is. And so this man by the name of Colombo, what he did was to start to train persons in how to be a minister, to minister the gospel. But what he did was to teach them the skills of being an artisan or being whatever profession that you choose to be in, right? And varying profession persons will be tapping into it. But the main purpose of training to be a doctor, to be a carpenter, to be a teacher, whatever profession you choose, is to simply spread the gospel to your workplace. Not to be a more successful doctor, but to be a more successful evangelist of the word of God, right? And so when I listen to the mindset that would have gone into something like that, and people would have studied as long as 18 years before stepping out into the work world, even being able to even transcribe and write from the language of the day that the people could not understand into a language that the people could understand, and of course bring it in their in their coats, keeping it in the secret compartments so they can deliver the message. We are saying that what has been this kind of what you call ministry drivenness within our Christian faith has been lost along the way. Somehow it's all about how we can earn the next dollar, and if we can't earn anything from it, we are unwilling to want to venture out into it. So I guess where we need to be is to back at that place where we find the gospel more important than our own personal well-being, and of course take God to his word. If we should lift and to serve him, then he would lift us up. He would give us what we need and more than what we need.
Well, I tell you, my favorite Bible text is Matthew 6:33, which says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you." And I don't take that lightly. As people know me, they know, and not me and my wife, we put a lot of energy into the work of the church, into the work of the Lord. Not just do it, with the spare time we have, and that is why the work lingers behind, because people don't understand. And if you have taken up an obligation to serve in the church, to serve in the gospel, you have to be intentional about it. That means you have to decide that I am now the president of ASI, and I have to decide. Okay, normally when I do my to-do list, I have 6 or 7 hours dedicated to my vacation, to my vocation. I have to intentionally put 2 hours there for ASI or for Children's Ministry Department or for Sabbath School Department. I can't just say I am the Sabbath School Director, and on Sabbath morning I'm gonna turn up and that's when my job begins. No, I have to intentionally say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm gonna put an hour aside to sit down and to do some research, to do some strategizing, to do some pre-planning, and that is how you excel in. People ask me, how do I move from being a regular ASI member to being the head of ASI in the region and so on. It's not because it pays a salary or because it gives me anything. I don't even promote that position anywhere. It doesn't give me any status or anything. But what it does is that from I started, I decided that I'm going to be intentional about my contribution. And therefore, when I make my to-do list, I might have 20 items on the LASCO, I might have 5 items on the NCU where I still do some studies, and then I might have 6 items on the ASI, and I have 4 items on a Georgetown church. So I'm intentional because your time is what you have. That is your resource, not your money. Your time is your main resource. And so if you don't budget, it's not gonna happen. You can't just wish to be
Can we say to be?
you have to sit and plan and budget your time because that's all you have. Don't budget anything else. If you budget your money and say, okay, I'm going to give this to the church, that's not what God wants. Is your time. So when you take up an obligation, remember that. And I say to you, the pastor, to say, listen, you can't come to a meeting and discuss something, and the next time you discuss this is at the next meeting. That don't impress me. What happens? What's important is during the meeting. So if I'm on a committee with you at the church, with the pastor, and you don't call me during the week to talk about what we discussed in the meeting, then you don't impress me, because that means that you're a one day man, and the gospel doesn't work like that. It works where it's a daily intention, and you don't have to do. We're not saying people have to give up their job and spend their time at work working on church business. No, it can be half an hour, it can be an hour, it can be. But I digress. I don't want to finish the time without promoting ASI. Right? You go on.
I know Elder Riley is quite passionate. Is quite passionate about the mission field and the ministry. And of course, we want to thank him so much for coming on board and sharing that passion. I'm catching on, Elder Riley. I'm catching on and being appointed as the
No,
public
you're more
relations officer.
you're more catching on. Elise,
I'm
I'm catching on. I'm catching on, and
you
of
know,
course,
that lady Elise is the public relations officer for ASI Cayman.
inside Cayman right now. So
All those flyers and all those things you see going out on social media, that is her doing.
yes,
She's been
and I hope to do much more. I hope to do much more. So, Dr. K is getting ready to come in the house. So you gotta share with our listeners and viewers. And I know a few on Facebook has reached out to say good morning. So, good morning to our viewers on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So, Elder Riley, share with us finally a summary of the events for this week as Dr. K prepares to join us right here on set.
okay. Look like I have 5 minutes. Let me go. So we start on Friday evening, Friday night at 7:30 with our opening service, our Vesper service. We're inviting everyone to join us on Zoom. The link is on ASI Cayman on Facebook. Then on Sabbath morning, we're inviting you to come on down to the Georgetown Church. For the Sabbath school hour, we're going to have marketplace ministry. We're going to have a lot of our local businesses sharing how they minister in the marketplace. And then for the divine service, Pastor Phillip Baptiste. Phillip Baptiste is the head of ASI internationally. His substantive post is Secretary Treasurer of ASI North America. But effectively, he's the man who heads up when anybody, anywhere in the world, is doing anything about ASI, he's the one you call. And so he's the man with resources, he's the one who understands ASI, who sets the policy, who sets up the ideas. And it's going to be just great. And he's an expert in communication. So we're going to pick up some communication tips from him also. So Phillip Baptiste is going to be our main speaker. Pastor Harry is going to be there to install our new team, and it's going to be a wonderful experience. And then in the evening now, the big event where all the community is invited out, everybody. We want the people to come out and learn how to use the AED defibrillator machine. So if somebody nearby to you is having an heart attack, you can grab the machine from the wall and apply it properly. And this is also going to be the launch of the ASI project to raise funds and to buy these machines and to give them out to all places of worship in Cayman. Adventist church, Baptist church, Anglican church, everywhere that people go to worship, we want to give them one of these on the wall so that what happened in Georgetown when our dear brother Celestine had a heart attack and we had none there to administer to him, we don't want it to happen anywhere else. And so we wanted to come out on Sabbath afternoon at 4 p.m. and learn how to use the machine, bring a donation that we can put it together and start buying these machines. We are teaming up with the HSA and the EMT because we are standardizing the AED machines being used in Cayman. So that when the fire service comes or when the EMT comes, they have the same AED machines that you have in your church. So they have to move the not to change anything. So we are working with them, collaborating them, so we have the thing standardized. And we want to give a big shout out to Brother Derek Davids, who's leading on this project. And so come Sunday morning, we join with the 10K for this Cayman Islands conference, and then we end on Sunday. Sunday morning is the 10K. Then Sunday night we have the big concert. We have all the leading sounds from our community singing, and we have Dwayne Youth the MCing, and it's just going to be great. We have O'Neill, Hilton, the Williams. Everybody's there.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be singing.
Listen, Mikey, I have to get one solo in there, and of course make my debut that night. Something exciting, of course. I really appreciate Elder Riley for coming in this morning, and of course, join us on the breakfast hour for this.
1 minute. I wanted to tell you what happened last night. Yesterday evening, we had ASI down by the prison, not being locked up, but actually making a donation to.
That would be a noticed event, I imagine.
ASI was able to make a real big donation of an equipment for the prison that would allow the prisoners to watch non-stop 3ABN programming without the need for the internet. So ASI came and the treasurer, Sister Riley, was able to go down and present to the chaplain of the prison what we call the 3ABN Internet box, which have 3,900 3ABN programs. So they'll be watching it non-stop. It's on health, it's on missions, it's on preaching, it's on everything. So ASI, this team has started the ball rolling with a very good initiative. And I want to congratulate them as they move on. The team, as you know, is Isabel Gomez, who is the president, and Pastor Andrew Campbell, the executive secretary. Elise is the public relations officer. Sister Riley is the treasurer, and then we have Brother Derek Davids, the project coordinator, Lyndon Nelson, the evangelism coordinator, Sister Gay Smith, assistant evangelism, and Brother Kirkwood, assistant PRO. And so there's a fantastic team in place. I'm so happy with what we've been able to put together, and we are looking for great big things from ASI Cayman for the rest of this year going into 2026.
ASI Cayman, of course, has garnered a very healthy team for 2024 going into 2025, entering a new era of what ASI can look at, a new chapter of ASI. Of course, for this one thing, I am sure sharing the gospel in the workplace is indeed one of the most important things, because sometimes we have simply forgot what we are supposed to do. Thank you for reminding us this morning, Elder Riley, coming on and telling so many persons how important it is for sharing the gospel within the workplace.
Thank you very much.
For ASI Weekend, November 22 to 24, under the theme Reset, Revive, Renew. ASI, a community of Seventh-day Adventist laymen and professionals, is committed to sharing Christ in the marketplace. On Friday, connect on Zoom with Pastor Baptiste. Sabbath morning, explore marketplace ministry. Then celebrate the divine service with Pastor Baptiste and witness the installation of our new ASI board members, followed by Sabbath lunch. In the afternoon, don't miss the major project launch and heart resuscitation training. On Sunday, rise early for the SDA 10K run walk at 6 a.m. Wrap up the weekend at 6 p.m. with a grand gospel concert, closing with an inspiring charge by Phillip Baptiste. Come, reset, revive, and renew with us.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries
Amen.
we'll make our own way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd. Just you and me together, we'll all sing better outside. Just us in the sky. I will go wherever, I'll be yours forever. Are we part of this circus? Is it innate? Feels like a heavy burden, but I can't relate. Do our actions even matter? Or is this a fate? At least now I'm feeling better. I know I'm here to stay. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd. Just you and me together, we'll all sing better outside. Just us in the sky. I will go wherever, I'll be yours forever.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit ASI Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. ASI Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call ASI Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
Good morning, listeners. These are your news headlines on Flashpoint Radio. I am Coralee Karen. Construction workers strike after payroll heist. Construction workers at the Hat Residence project downed tools on Tuesday after a robbery left them unpaid. The theft occurred on Monday afternoon when 3 masked men, one armed, ambushed a payroll officer at the commercial center on Eastern Avenue, stealing a large sum of money earmarked for wages and a cell phone. The thieves fled in a Honda CR-V, leaving workers unsure of when they'll be paid. An employee expressed frustration, saying, "We live paycheck to paycheck. We don't get paid. We don't eat." UK politicians target Cayman in tax haven debate. Cayman Premier Juliana O'Connor-Connolly is leading talks in London amid renewed scrutiny of the island's financial practices. Despite Cayman's removal from the FATF's grey list last year, British MPs and media continue to call for greater transparency, particularly public beneficial ownership registers. Labour MP Dame Margaret Hodge and Conservative MP Andrew Mitchell criticised delays in reforms, adding pressure on the Premier, who recently took over the financial services portfolio. Cayman residents report high quality of life. Cayman Islands residents are enjoying a high quality of life despite economic challenges, with a satisfaction rating of 82.2% in the inaugural Quality of Life survey by the Economic and Statistics Office. Health and well-being emerged as a top factor for happiness, surpassing job and economic stability. However, nearly 40% of respondents said their income falls short of their standard of living. Tourism decline raises concerns. The Cayman Islands Tourism Association has reported a slowdown in stayover tourism. Outgoing President Troy Leacock noted declining bookings since May, with advanced bookings for the upcoming high season also below expectations. He attributed the trend to possible redound fatigue from post-pandemic travel, increased competition, and weather disruptions. In regional news, more support needed for female political candidates. Electoral Commission of Jamaica Chairman Earl Jarrett is advocating for increased funding for women in politics. Speaking at a workshop on women's political participation, he highlighted the financial barriers women face when running for office. Jarrett urged political parties to set quotas and called for greater state support for underserved communities. Still in Jamaica, Fire Brigade urges market fire mitigation. The Jamaica Fire Brigade is recommending stricter fire safety measures for markets after three fires in Montego Bay's Old Shoe Market over the past year. Investigations revealed unregulated electricity use, cramped layouts, and flammable material as major risks. District Officer Onion Clark emphasized the need for smoke detectors and better regulation of electricity in market spaces. Science in the Park set for November 21. The Scientific Research Council will host its annual Science in the Park exhibition at Emancipation Park in Kingston. Under the theme Science for a Better Life, the event aims to inspire Jamaica's youth to pursue careers in STEM. Interactive displays, hands-on activities, and a Bring Your Own Device initiative will mark this year's event especially engaging. Education Ministry mourns tragic loss of student. The Ministry of Education is mourning the death of 10-year-old Kenil Clark, who died in a hit and run accident last Friday near Lacovia Primary School. Minister Dana Morris Dixon urged road users to prioritize safety near schools, calling this tragedy a wake-up call to improve road safety measures and infrastructure. Those were your news headlines on Flashpoint Radio. Stay tuned for more updates throughout the day.
Just want to thank Coralee Karen for her news report this morning. Now it's time for our community notice board. Get ready, Grand Cayman. The Gospel Tabernacle Church of Jesus Christ Apostolic, located at 58 Green Street, Georgetown, invites you to a brand new pastor Don't miss your turning point this morning. It is time for your wellness check. I know your heart is just racing, racing. You're wondering, how is my heart doing? How is my skin doing? How are those parasites doing? Whatever you're wondering this morning, Dr. K has it all locked, and we have our own doctor. I mean, don't play with Flashpoint. Don't play with us. Good morning, Dr. K. Welcome.
Good morning, Lady Elise. How are you this morning?
Ah,
Good morning, Mikey G.
Good morning, Doctor. How are you doing?
uh,
I'm good, thank you.
Dr. K, I will report on one of our team members here, the one called Mikey G. From November last year, he came right here live on the breakfast hour and said that he would have been having his checks done because November, we are, quite aware of men's health and so on. So,
Right.
as a member of the team, I must report to you as the resident physician of Flashpoint that one of our team members, yeah, he's shirking his responsibility.
Well, here is where I go with that responsibility, Lady Elise. I would say this quickly before Dr. K even answers. Doctor privilege, patient privileges that exist, even by the standards that are established, would apply to even a low-sum soul like myself. So yes, I would appreciate if that doctor patient privilege would be continued, and of course, for the general population who wants to know if I did my check, none of your business. All right? That's what I'm just going to tell you. That's what I'm going to say to them.
So, Mikey G, you will report to the doctor, correct?
Now somebody's setting me up. Literally set me up this morning, and of course made me feel as if I'm supposed to be reporting. But I was trying to use that part to
One
get
of
out of.
our listeners said I should call you out, and I did, so you were called out. So, Dr. K, what are you sharing with us today?
And before I even talk about it, yesterday was Men's Month, Michael.
Men's, yeah,
Men's
my
Day,
God.
sorry, I
Men's
told you,
Day.
International Men's Day.
Men's Day
So,
yesterday.
it was a good thing for you to have.
Okay,
Those long awaited.
so it's Mikey G picking on Mikey G day today. Yesterday was Men's Day, and today's picking on Mikey G's day today. All right, fine.
So today, as November is not just men that not just has International Men's Day, but we said it was Alzheimer's awareness and it's also diabetes awareness month.
It was very interesting, Dr. K. I'm sorry to break you a little bit, but just when they had announced that it was Men's Day yesterday, what was very important about Men's Day is that men commit more suicide than anybody else, and first suffer from mental illness and stuff like that. That was what was on the headline, the top shelf of what was being propagated about men. Yes, yes. I find it a little bit strange, but anyways, I guess you're going to be clearing up a few things for us this morning, of course, in regards to
And
what men's health will be like, and of course how diabetes affects us.
and and since men commit more suicide than anybody else, men need to maintain their mental health And that's why they need to see their doctors more often. And that's why they need to maintain good relationships, good
Amen.
friendships,
All
good
right.
relationships.
All right. All right. All right. All right. I'm gonna leave it
So,
right here because we could go so many different parts of that. But I'm gonna leave it there. Men's health are important.
yeah, men's health is important. So today we're going to be talking about diabetes awareness. I know everybody knows about diabetes because in one way or not, you have been touched by diabetes. And it's something that is controllable, and that's all different types. So let's talk about diabetes. So it affects people of all ages, okay? It's not just adults, not just children. Anybody can get diabetes, okay? And that's because there are different types of diabetes. The most common type that we know is type 2. That's the one that is the basically we get in adult onset diabetes. And but you can have any type, and we'll talk about what are the different causes of the different type. But the problem with diabetes is the complication. So once your diabetes is controlled, you can live a long and healthy life. But it's the complications of uncontrolled diabetes. And we know that people, especially men, don't like to take medication, don't like to go to the doctor, don't like to take medication. And it's at this time it's there's a lot more drugs that are available out there that will that's a little bit in terms of helping to make the compliance with diabetes control a little bit more. So how do you get diabetes? So basically we use glucose, right, which is our blood sugar, and we get this from the food that we eat, carbohydrates and everything. And this is our fuel source. So we use this to make energy. Okay? So we have glucose circulating in our body. If our blood sugar falls, you know what happens? We get weak, our eyes cross, we can't do anything. Eventually, our brain gets no food, so our brain shuts off, and we can actually go into a coma. So we need sugar. And the same thing happens when it's too high. It's too much. It's causing damage. And when it gets too high, we can go into a coma too.
Oh wow.
So at the extremes, we can get sick. So the thing about it is to keep your blood sugar under control. So think about it. You eat and you take in sugar, carbohydrates, whatever it is. Now, you need to circulate that around the body. So it needs to be absorbed into the bloodstream and it needs to be taken into the body to be used. How is that? Think about so the sugar is there and it's going to need the insulin to take it to the body. But in order to take it, it has to go to the pancreas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So the insulin is there circulating around. Think of it like a key. And it has to go to the pancreas where the receptors are. And so the key has to fit into the lock, turn the lock, fit into the lock for the key to work, for the whole process to work. Now, if you're producing too much sugar, you don't have enough insulin, then the sugars are not going to go anywhere. They're going to stay into the bloodstream, so your blood sugar is going to go high. If you're producing sugar, if you're eating sugar, you're producing insulin, but the lock is not working, so the key can't go into the lock, then the function is not going to happen.
Okay.
So in
Wow.
type 2 diabetes, sometimes you're not producing enough insulin. The other times you're not, you have insulin resistance. That means the lock is not working. So the function, so you can't open the door. Let's put it that way. So one type, you have insulin, the lock can't work. The other one, you don't have enough insulin, but the lock is working, or both. So it's just a crazy thing with the whole type 2 diabetes. But the problem with diabetes is that Once the sugar circulates, the increased sugar in your bloodstream, then you can have the problems. And I'll talk about all the different problems that can happen. The thing about it that there are other reasons for diabetes. For example, you have type 1, which is mostly hereditary, where basically you're not producing enough insulin. So those people would be having to get insulin. So anything damages your pancreas can cause you to have um, diabetes, whether it's going to be type 1, type 2, type 3, you this is going to be a problem. And semantics in terms of, for the doctor, yes, they will decide what's causing your diabetes and how to manage your diabetes, but that's all basically based on your doctor's instructions, and that's all what we call it now pathological in terms of all physiological. This is all academic terms in terms of what is causing your diabetes. So if you have pancreatitis, if you have anything wrong with your pancreas, um, people who are on steroids, because steroids cause increase in your blood sugar, they can have a temporary increase in their blood sugar. Even pregnant women can get problems with their blood sugar. We call that gestational diabetes. And a woman who is pregnant and gets this gestational diabetes, the problem is with the circulating sugar, she can have problems with her fetus, with the baby. The baby can be large, and there's sometimes increased fluid. So there are problems that can happen with her baby. So these women will have to be monitored um, very closely. The thing about it though, a woman who gets gestational diabetes tend to be at risk, increased risk for getting diabetes later in life. But remember, everything can be controlled based on your lifestyle. So we always go back to lifestyle changes. And we have to know that um, blood sugar, or we use for example, exercise, our muscles use blood sugar. So if you're a diabetic, it's a good thing to move a lot more, because your insulin might not work, the lock might not work, but you can try to get rid of some of the sugars by actually um, allowing your muscles to use it, so you're getting it out of the system. The other thing that diabetics need to do is to drink a lot of water. Sugar follow water. So if you're peeing a lot, you're going to pee that sugar out. And that is why a lot of persons will realize that they're diabetics, because they're having peeing a lot, increased thirst, or might be losing weight. So that's especially with those juvenile onset, that means younger persons, and you have your teenager, and you notice that she's drinking a gallon of water for the day, and she's always thirsty and always hungry, but she's not gaining 1 pound. She's peeing a lot, and so this is a triad. We call it polyphagia, which means increased eating. Polydipsia means which increased thirst, and polyuria means increased pee. So they're drinking a lot more, and that is because the sugar is high. So the body is feeding back to try to wash out the sugar. So you're drinking more, so you're peeing more. In old time, people, how they used to test the blood sugar, right?
What the ants?
The ants too, that's a good way. But they used to taste it.
Taste what?
The pee. It used to be sweet.
What are you saying?
Yeah, but in ancient, remember, medicine has been around forever. We never had the technologies that we had now. We could do a blood stick. Yeah, there was the ants, but then if you taste the pea, there are lots of things that they could taste in peas, in the pea. Lots of different illnesses. Just by analyzing the pea, they would know.
Oh boy. I'm just right now at the point of thinking about that. You
I'm
know,
I'm thankful that we have come this far.
we have really come a
Jesus.
far way. But I'm listening to some person's survival skill that says you can we use water, and that include all the waters that you can have for drinking purposes. And they want to make a machine that does it, you know. And when you talk about it a while ago, it just came to my mind that, you know, we have been so ingenious and creative, but then what we would not come up with next. But I did not know that this was a testing method, and to know this to this point is a very interesting thing for me, you know. And I'm grateful that I'm on this platform this morning, hearing this information. At least I know where I'm at today, and of
You
course,
know, Dr. K, you know, diabetes is one of those conditions that I find that is it's so common, especially with us here in the Caribbean, and it can be quite a frustrating situation having to watch everything you eat and do all these things because of course your life, if you don't manage it properly, then you can have other issues, circulatory issues, and you know, we have seen some amputees, we see persons and we hear that they had diabetes. um, well, I ask a question. Once you get diabetes type 2, can it be reversed?
Well, um, medically, we don't know of anything to reverse in it. There are lots of people out there who say diabetes can be reversed. And there are people who say they had diabetes and they have been on therapy and it has reversed their diabetes. And I'm yet to see somebody who said, even though people say it, but I'm yet to see somebody who says, I have come off medication completely and I'm not taking anything for my diabetes. Because even though they may come off medication, they're still using something to decrease the blood sugar. So I'm yet to hear anybody say that my diabetes has been cured and I do not need to take anything for it. So they might say it's reversed because it's controlled, but I've not heard, and they're using something, whether it's going to be herbal therapy or some therapy to try to control the blood sugar. But the point is that what I'm saying is that there are people who are labeled diabetic. For example, you have the pre-diabetics where the blood sugar is creeping up, or you use the hemoglobin A1C, it's creeping up. But they're not really full-blown diabetics. And we'll say as physicians, if you manage your lifestyle, if you exercise, if you drink a lot of water, if you do what you ought to do, decrease your alcohol intake, stop smoking, that kind of thing, you can control the blood sugar. And even people who are diabetics, and what you need to understand is that diabetes is not a death sentence. We're not saying you cannot eat anything that you like.
Right.
And that's where the temperance and the moderation comes into play.
Yes.
So if you're diabetic, I'm not going to tell you you cannot eat ice cream because you're a diabetic. I'm not going to tell you you cannot taste a piece of cake because you're a diabetic.
I mean,
No,
some people like gelatos and stuff. I mean, for those persons like gelatos and those things, I'm thinking that if they can still eat the gelatos. They can
Don't
have it.
you can still do your taste. I don't expect you to eat
see
a whole cup. You can
exactly.
have a few
Yeah.
spoons, but you know that you have to. If I'm going to eat a gelato today, I'm not going to eat cake and ice cream the same day,
Exactly.
right?
And
And
you're
I'm
gonna
going to be
exercise and you're gonna
and
do,
I'm going to exercise. I'm going to increase my water
yeah,
intake.
with
Plus, I'm
temperate.
going to
Yeah.
substitute some of my carbs for vegetable.
Yes.
You know, so you have to know how your body responds to whatever, and you have to plan your diet. Plan, if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to not do this. So that's where the discipline comes in. So yes, we're not taking away all the things that you like. We're not taking away anything that you like. What we're doing here is making sure that you are
Yes.
controlling that blood sugar, and making sure that the blood sugar is to the point where it is at an acceptable level. Now, and I'm going to go into some of the complications of diabetes because of the increased sugar, that's where you get the problem. So the blood sugar that increases can cause damage to nerves, and that is why we have damage to patients come to you at they're 7 years old now, and they say my feet hurt, my feet hurt so badly, and I will say to them, you know, and they need the pain to go away immediately, and I'm saying, I'm sorry, we can give you medication, but really the horse has gone through the gate, because there was a long time that you did not control the blood sugar, and because you didn't control the blood sugar, it's damaging your nerves. Okay, so it damages the nerves to the feet, and they get the neuropathy. Okay, and the neuropathy is, you can do anything about it. You can treat it, you can give medication, but the thing about it is to have prevented that damage from failure. So you're damaging the nerves in the lower limbs, and what happens is that later on in life, the pain is unbearable. It's terrible. And then they have the peripheral vascular disease, where there's a decreased blood flow to the lower limbs because of the damage to the blood vessels. So the blood sugar damages blood vessels, it damages nerves, and that is why they can actually go blind, because it's damaging the nerves in the eye. So they get the blindness, okay, and they get the decreased blood flow to the legs, and as a result of decreased blood flow, so the two things, that is decreased blood flow plus the neuropathy, they can't feel. So
Wow.
Yeah.
you'll be walking, and get damage to the foot,
Yes.
and especially if you don't wear proper shoes, it could be just your shoes that's rubbing and causing friction, and as a result of the friction to the foot, because there's a wound, you're not feeling it, so by the time you realize it, the horse has gone through the gate. The other thing that diabetes does is diabetes affects your immune system. So the increased blood sugar affects your immune system and decreases your immune response. So think about somebody who has a wound to the leg. It's not healing well because the immune system is not good. They can't feel that it's there, so they're not having the pain that a normal person would have. And the blood flow to the area is decreased, so it's not healing. Because anywhere that needs healing, you must have blood flow.
So in this case, it's dying.
What is dying?
The leg is dying. The area is dying.
Exactly. And as a result of that, sometimes the death of it is so far gone that you'd have to cut the leg off in order to save the person's life.
Wow. And that's
And so that is why we always say try to control the blood sugar as possible. And that is why a person who is diabetic will get a lot more checks. They need to get their eye exam every year, because they're looking for changes in their eye. They're looking for that retinopathy, and if there are changes in their eyes, then your doctor can actually, some of them can, depending on how far it can be corrected. Okay? So,
Wow.
and they always need to get their feet checked. So the people who are diabetic need to go to a podiatrist so they can get their nails cut, especially those older persons. Make sure their nails are cut. Make sure they're examining their feet for any changes in their feet. Because I mean, when you get older, it's not so easy to be bending down to look on the sole of your foot, or even to look on your foot itself. Those people tend to be a little bit older, inflexible. But that's the thing, diabetics need to exercise, they need to move. And remember, diabetics are prone, because I told you, their immune system, they're at risk for getting infections, more infections than other persons. But the good thing is that once you control that blood sugar, whether you're going to be using drugs or natural ways or lifestyle modification, you can live a normal life. As I say, it is not the blood sugar, it's the level of elevation and how long it has been high. Your blood sugar has been circulating high in your body. Okay? And remember, we use our hemoglobin A1C as a test to see it basically tests your compliance over a 3 month period. So you go to your doctor and you fast all night and your blood sugar is 90. That doesn't mean that it was 90 yesterday, the day before, the day before, the day before, the day before that. So that's why we don't use your fasting blood sugar really to say anything. Your blood sugar fasting is your way at home to make sure that you control. So you want to keep your numbers at least, if you're diabetic, between 100 and say 120, 150, you don't want to go over 150. So you want to keep your numbers right there. And basically what that does is that it sorry, it makes sure that your sugars are controlled. um with that being said, we have to make sure, give me a second, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, give me a minute, 1 minute.
Let's go to a commercial break, and when we come back, of course, Dr. K will continue on this topic of diabetes, and of course, to tell us a little bit more about how we can better aid ourselves, and of course, to help to prevent diabetes. Of course, for me, I would tell somebody, just by listening to the conversation later, that Dr. K would have said, instead of waiting until you get diabetes to start exercising, exercise so diabetes will come. Yeah.
Exercise from now.
So
Yes.
let's not try to treat, the problem.
Yes.
If we can avoid treating the problem, then I guess avoid treating the problem possibly could help us to navigate that healthier you that you need to have um, when you come to that point. So yeah, exercise now before you get diabetes. Of course, start playing, guys. Children play all the time. Of course, we know young children also get diabetes, ladies. And I'm listening to that conversation.
Yeah,
You
I will
Right.
ask Dr. K the question though. Once you figure out that you are at an additional risk, for example, during your pregnancy, you had
Hmm.
a gestational diabetes. It is
Correct.
that you can adjust your lifestyle so that you don't get the diagnosis. You can do little
True.
things. Yes.
Yes. Right. So you want, as and it's not just gestational diabetes, but if you have a family history of diabetes, you have close relatives. There's some people who, I've had friends who were diagnosed with diabetes and they've never had anybody, they don't know. But when they trace it back, they realize they had diabetes in their family, they just didn't know.
Mm,
So the thing to do is to start, you were pregnant and your blood sugar was really, really high. So what you can do for you is that you can start changing your lifestyle. So you exercise more, your meals, there's some people use the intermittent fasting to make sure that they're staying 16 hours without meat food, to try to decrease their blood sugar or to control their HbA1c. That's another way. Some people use different means, where they're going to take some bitter melon, or they're going to take some string beans, or whatever thing they're going to be using. But the thing to do is that you, as a person, control your portions, make sure your water intake, decrease your stress levels, and the same thing goes on and on and on and on again. Make sure you get your
stress
vitamin D,
levels.
you get
That
sunshine.
sounds so
Make
nice.
sure you're right. So it's the same way your lifestyle will basically maintaining a healthy weight, maintaining your trust in God, which is your stress level, and you exercise, and that's a way to make sure that you actually ward off a lot of those things, and see your doctor regularly. I mean, to
I
make
see you
sure
every
that
week, Dr. K. I see you like every week. That does that count?
right, right,
there
absolutely.
is there is your medical checkup on a weekly basis.
Right. So basically, you know when you wanna, you don't want to wait until you have symptoms in order to go anywhere. You want to prevent those symptoms. And I always say, know your body. If you know your body, when things change, even subtle change, you will know. And a lot of people just don't have that relationship with their body, unfortunately. It's true. They don't know their body. You look at your finger and you go, is when it basically turned black, you realize it turned black because you never notice it. You look at your feet, you're not having that day, you're not communing with yourself, man.
You're not.
Commune with your body, know what's happening in your body. Every change, it's just like I would tell a woman, do your self breast examination every, you don't have to do it every day, at least once a month. You know what your breasts feel like. So if there's any change in there, you will know. And it's
Yeah,
men, look at yourself. If there's any change in you,
I tell
you
you,
will know.
I tell you what, Dr. K, the
Don't
men talk
interrupt
to look
Dr.
at.
K when she's talking
I would,
about the men. Oh,
I
listen.
would, I would like to say something here, ladies. I just say men look at themselves. I want to say that the men usually like to look at the women. Like when you talk about the breast idea of the women looking at their breasts, who is more inclined? We have to look at these things, and so you may have to be, you may have to collaborate the effort to actually get these treatments or these examinations done. Because people are more interested in some areas than others. And so, of course, if you could ask those persons, it might be a bit helpful,
It's
you
it's
know.
it's it's funny, but that's true. A lot of sometimes women would come for when with issues with their breasts, and they would say, "My husband would have been the one who
Who
picked it up."
noticed? Yes.
Yes. So that's true, but that's also true. Some changes, sometimes some little subtle things happening in the back or
What's happening to
anywhere.
I would know some things about something like like a little part down, where and so you hear the story. What's happening here? And you're like, I don't know. Why are we talking about what's happening here? You're not supposed to be doing any of that. Stuff like that. But people tend to explore. If you're in that kind of relationship, it might just make sense that the person who finds out is not necessarily yourself. And of course, like I just, I wanted to make it a little cheeky there, but it
Yeah,
worked out that
no,
it
that's
was
true.
actually a really good idea for us to actually do it. But it is what it is, all right? And of course, for men, doctor, what do you think about the guys who don't want to check themselves out all the time?
And they should.
Yes.
They want to have a long and healthy life. I say, if men are not healthy, the family isn't healthy, because
Ah,
it's 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 terrible, because men are usually the providers for the family. So when you take the men out, you're leaving a big void in the
usually,
family. So
usually.
men need to make sure that they take care of themselves. They have their wives who are depending on them, and their children who are depending on them. So yes, it's important that men get themselves checked out, and men get themselves as healthy as possible. And the thing about men with diabetes, I mean, women it has problems, but men get erectile dysfunction for those people who have diabetes. And that's a big thing that men do not want.
No blood flow go into that vessel, and it's
Yeah,
a
because
vessel.
if the blood flow
Can we
is
call it a vessel?
decreasing,
Yeah?
say that again.
Can we call it a vessel?
Well, it's a vessel lead to the organ.
Ah, there it is.
It's a blood vessel in the organ, so the organ will not work. So yes, men, it's important for you to make sure you control, especially anything that causes decrease in blood flow, because it will have implications later in life. I remember, just on a light note, I remember a patient came into the hospital after having a sustained erection for a while, because he was diabetic, and he just was
What's
so
that called again?
enjoying this.
Priapism?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
quite a few guys would like to pray for that, especially when that
No,
so the dysfunction is one direction, or the other. That's what you're saying. That
it's painful.
it's more painful not to get it working. I'm thinking that it's more painful if it's not working. I don't know which one is better. I'm sorry.
And then there is silence. When you have caused Dr. K to have lost her speech, then it requires. That is why we were concerned about the mental health of men yesterday. But nonetheless, it's almost time to get out of studio, guys. It's almost that time.
Almost time for the Lord to come. Sorry.
Anyway,
I
thank
hear
you so
that
much for
people
today.
say. I've not heard that one a long time. Of course, it's almost time for us to leave, of course. Thank you, Doc.
Yes, thank you so much for having me today. I'm hoping that everybody learned a little bit more. And there are all the drugs that are out there, Ozempic, Wegovy, all of
Oh,
those things for diabetes that they're using for weight loss and everything else. Yeah, interesting.
Okay, so
the
Ozempic.
weight loss drugs are linked to.
No, no, no. Those drugs are made for diabetes, but they're actually weight loss. They have side effects of weight loss.
Hmm. All right. Good to know. Doc.
Dr. K, who are the members? It's interesting that you mentioned that. Who are the members of the team? You mentioned the podiatrist for foot care, but who are the other members of the team that the diabetic can um,
So there's a whole team. You
include?
have the
Yes.
endocrinologist, you
Mm-hmm.
have the nutritionist, you have the podiatrist, you need to see your ophthalmologist, okay, and you need to see your primary care physicians. And anything additional, they will decide. So diabetics can eventually can get problems with their kidneys, so they might have to see a nephrologist. But this is determined by your primary care physician. But the persons initially are your endocrinologist, your nutritionist, your podiatrist, and your primary care physician.
Okay.
And that's those are the core persons that should be in your medical team as a diabetic. And
Wow.
after that, your doctor will determine whether or not you need additional. So diabetics tend to have lots of doctors because you have an ophthalm. As I say, you have the ophthalmologist who have to see your eye every year, so you need to go to your eye doctor. You get your podiatrist to examine your feet because your primary care may not be able to do the necessaries, and you need a nutritionist who's going to help you with your meal planning and help you with your diet, and your
I am.
endocrinologist will definitely help you to control your blood sugar.
I'm testing my blood sugar today to
Okay.
ensure that my glasses that I'm wearing is actually important enough that it's not just because I'm losing my sight, but because of high blood sugar. All right.
Congratulations.
Advising all my God, the men's,
Dr.
is
K,
that
Dr.
men?
K, I know, you know, you brought up this topic, and diabetes comes with so many different tentacles, so many different areas. And
It's scary. It's scary. It is scary. That's what I'm listening to. It's a scary thing.
I don't want to relate it, but I have to ask a question nonetheless because in recent years I have had a few friends who have been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And sometimes one of the first sign or the first indication would be an issue with their blood sugar.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you, it's that you know what? That's so important. You are fine. And then go to the doctor, your blood sugar is elevated, and the doctor is treating you as a diabetic. Never one day look at your pancreas.
Yes.
And the next time they look at your pancreas, the horse has gone through the gate.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's true. And there's so many adults who the first sign of pancreatic cancer is elevated blood sugar. Because I told you, if your pancreas is not working, anything that affects your pancreas can cause your blood sugar to be elevated. And it harrows anybody who is older. If your doctor don't ask, don't say it, you ask your doctor,
Yes.
can I get an ultrasound of my pancreas? And if they say yes, at least the earliest thing to do is an ultrasound. That's the simplest diagnostic measure. I mean, if there's something that you see on the ultrasound, yes, you can do a CT, but say, could I get an ultrasound? That's an easy test. That's non-invasive. That doesn't require anything. And can I get an ultrasound? Can you look at my pancreas, please?
Yes.
So if you are 50, if you are 40, if you are whatever age, and if you've never had diabetes before, you go your doctor say your blood sugar is elevated. Can you look at my pancreas, please?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Having that information for, I've had so many friends who have,
Yeah.
passed away because of this particular disease. And on a solemn, in a very sad note, of course, not to say we're leaving the breakfast on a sad note this morning, but when we talk about healthcare, sometimes we are not mindful how important it is.
I know everything is connected.
I know it is.
Doctor is
Absolutely.
talking about our
Absolutely.
foot
Yeah.
and cutting our nails and taking care of our health, and we and you said it. Know yourselves, know your body, know what's not, and just don't take it for granted. Check your eyes. It's all connected. Let's try to stay healthy. Wanted to thank you, Dr. K, for joining us this morning. As usual, with a wealth of information, and I mean, the more I think about it, the more questions I have that I could just throw at you. But I thank you so much for spending the time and sharing with us this morning, and I hope that we would have been benefited from this. Each person will take their health, and namely Mikey G. Remember, our viewer said that I should call you out. You made a public declaration last year, November, that you would be making your checks. And on that note, I will.
And the more I want to add my quote of thanks to Dr. K for coming on this morning, and of course to give us a wealth of information, and of course for our viewers and our listeners this morning. I know that you have benefited more than you have ever significantly this morning from this information that has been given to you. Of course, I would say that for anybody, and I'm going to just say this for our listeners who want to call me out. I'm not going. I'm very much not want to know some of the things that are happening to me. So I live in peace, die in peace, and I go in peace. And so I would just say, guys, I am going to say to you, listen, I want this. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't
We
tell me.
don't want to end the breakfast note
I
like that
know.
because you would have learned nothing from
I
what
learned.
Dr. K
I have learned
said.
it. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this one thing for myself.
Check your blood sugar.
Yeah, I'm going to check my blood sugar.
All right. So thank you guys for joining us today on the breakfast hour.
Dr. K, you want to say something. I think she wanted to say something. So I'm going to say, Dr. K, you were about to tell me something a while ago.
Not
Absolutely
a
not.
word.
No words?
Learning hasn't taken place.
Ah, yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
No.
All right, so I'm going to go with the typical men's response. We don't want to know, and I think that's what kills us sometimes.
Okay, thank you for adding that line. Now you would have learned that kills you sometimes.
I'm just saying what it is. I'm just saying what it is. I'm not making it up, guys. I'm
While
not
we
making
get
it up.
out of here, of course, I will get out with our community notice board. Thank you so much, Dr. K, for having joined us. And of course, just to remind our listeners on that note that, of course, it's going to be November.
Again.
Movember information night. Actually, is it tonight? Yes, please share with colleagues. There's going to be free PSA tests, and it's going to be Thursday, the 21st at 7 p.m. at the Lions Center. They will have international speakers from Baptist Health, Miami Cancer Institute, Doctors Hospital, Health Services Authority, and of course the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute So it's going to be free health screenings, there'll be food and refreshments, free giveaway, Movember information night, of course. So much happening there. So,
November is geared towards men's health in terms of there is this thing about November that everybody want me to do a prostate examination. Is that what's necessary on that one?
everybody wants you to do anyway. I'm going to just share the rest of the
I know
community.
you just went off with everybody, and I don't understand the word. You just went off and highlighted everybody want me to do it. I'm saying that, that's what you said. And so I wanted to put it on the table that you said that.
All right, I said that. So let's get out of here by sharing with you two other events that will be coming up pretty soon.
Get ready for a musical journey unlike any other. On Saturday, November 30, 2024, Savannah Seventh day Adventist Church proudly presents a day of worship, inspiration, and music that will lift your soul to new heights. This year, we're embracing the theme Sermon Through Music, a divine symphony of creation, grace, love, redemption, and the soon coming of Jesus. From the opening note of divine worship at 10:30 a.m. to the final chords of our evening service at 4 p.m., you'll journey through the story of God's love expressed through music. Each phase of the divine plan will be beautifully narrated in song. This is a day for everyone. Whether you love the majestic harmonies of timeless hymns, the lively rhythms of contemporary worship, or the classical beauty of the old favorites, we have got something special just for you. Picture this: a full day of corporate worship, singing along with your church family to songs that have touched hearts across generations. Lift your voice as we unite in harmony, celebrating the wonder of creation, the miracle of grace, the power of love, and the promise of redemption. With guest artists, choirs, and special presentations, each moment is crafted to draw you closer to God's presence. It's a day of joy, reflection, and hope, all centered on the soon return of Jesus. Bring your families, bring your friends, and most importantly, bring your hearts ready to worship. So, save the date, November 30, 2024, Savannah Seventh day Adventist Church, divine worship at 10:30 a.m., evening service at 4 p.m. Come, be a part of the divine symphony, a worship experience you won't want to miss. Let the music of heaven fill your soul and reignite your faith.
Of course, we also want to let
Church invites you to their Music Day 2024 under the theme The King is Coming, November 23rd, 2024, starting at 9:30 a.m. Come out and be blessed at the Cayman Academy School Hall. A blessing awaits each and every one of you. See you there.
All right. There you have it. I want to say thanks, Lady Elise, for this morning show. Of course, I want to say thanks for ladies for producing this morning show. And of course, thanks to Dr. K for the wealth of information that I would say next, I don't want to know. Men response is always this. I know the admission, and I would try to tell our men today, please don't respond like this to the information today. We don't want to know. It's not an option. Please go out and get your checks, get your health test, and of course, ensure that you go and make your doctor's visits regularly. Of course, thank you for
Sanity prevails. Thank you
yeah,
so
let
much.
sanity prevail. Our family needs us more than we think, even if they're not so nice to us sometimes. But that's what happens. A lot of men, you get cornered into a situation. But I guess a lot of men are having a great, great family lives. I don't know. But anyways, here is what I'm going to say to those who are not having it. Go get your health checked out. Live long and don't find yourself in a situation. All right. Have yourself a wonderful day, guys. Thanks for joining the breakfast hour this morning. Catch us tomorrow morning, same time, same place at 6:30 in the a.m. on radio. Of course, remember, catch us on flashpointmedia.ky. It is www.flashpointmedia.ky. Our radio is always on, of course, 24 hours radio. Catch us early in the morning at 6:30 in the a.m. We start on radio, of course. We go on our YouTube planet somewhere about 7:30 and, of course, start to a conversation there. But, of course, you can start the conversation with us early in the morning on our radio and then get into our YouTube spaces and our Facebook and our Instagram spaces. And, of course, next on X. So, guys, take care of yourself, a beautiful one. Of course, Michael G, I want to say, have yourself a wonderful day. And, of course, all for me is I'm out. Ladies.
Have yourself a beautiful day today. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Not a beautiful one.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day.
Intent. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has conceived what God has prepared for those but God has revealed to us by His Spirit.
Things that God is preparing for you. You're listening to Flashpoint, the family. Get ready, friendly man. The Gospel Tabernacle Christ. Lord invites you to our anniversary pastor happening November 21st, 2024. 7:30 p.m. for a total worship and translation. This year's is those who want to cross the streets. For the focus